Yeah, that's good. So tonight's the night. 7:30 marks officially 7 days since I started this fast. So um, I've thought long and hard about how I'm going to break the fast. I mean, there's so much thought that goes into the prepping of the fast, during the fast, contending with the effects of the fast, and then obviously the moments where you fantasize about, what is it that you're going to eat at first meal, post break. But the reality is that it's a process that extends beyond the 7 days of literal fasting. It's really like, 7 days plus getting used to, your body getting used to digesting food again. So that's why tonight, after doing a lot of reading, a lot of research, so many different perspectives out there from, meat and fruits and things like that, but also even like across like various timelines, like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, research that's been around for a very long time up until recent stuff. So pretty much ran the gamut with really trying to understand what is the best way to break a water only fast. And so it turns out, I've decided to orange juice, and there's a few reasons why. One is orange juice is very, first off, it's citrus, and what you really want to do when you break this fast, especially an extended fast like this, is reignite the digestive system, right? It basically, what's happened here and what's really special about this fasting process is that because it's been at rest, the digestive system, for this amount of time, all that energy that would normally go there has now gone into so many other facets of the body. That's, your organs and your tissues. So there's a lot of healing. I mean, you don't have to be literally physically looking injured or, gagging and throwing up to be sick. Your body is constantly healing. And when there's more energy dedicated to healing your internals, obviously that's a huge benefit. And so, as a result, since there's been no energy, in the digestive process, you don't want to shock the body, and especially for an extended fast, it actually would be pretty dangerous if you just go in and break it with a big burger or anything like that, and it can actually in some cases be fatal. Of course, according to some things that I've read, and it's actually something that's pretty common, that not common to happen, but that can happen if you're not careful. So the key is breaking the fast very thoughtfully. And so anyway, why did I fast? Well, I mean, it was for a lot of different reasons. But just to kind of finish on the point about why the orange juice, it's out of all the citrus, because citrus is good to kickstart, it's the most nutrient dense. It's very good for the digestive process in itself, helps clean out a lot of waste. So anything that's kind of been left over or whatever through this 7 days, that'll help get rid of it. And tons of potassium. And that's why actually we traditionally have known to drink orange juice in the morning. It's great after any sort of fast. When you sleep, that's sort of a fast, right? So that's the reason why I'm going with OJ, and that's for tonight, all of tomorrow. This is in phases, right? So tonight's phase is going to be this one glass, maybe 2 glasses, which I'm going to start pouring actually, because I've earned this, so I actually should start drinking this pretty soon. And then tomorrow's maybe 3 to 5 glasses of orange juice. The following day will be like a vegetable soup, just the soup itself, not the actual veggies, not yet. And then the day after that is when I'll have some steamed veggies, some berries, and that'll be great. And then the day after, which will be the 5th day, that's when I can go back to more of what would be a normal routine, which may not be what I used to do, which is something I can get into later. But with that, fresh, by the way. I mean, got the oranges today, peeled them up and in the juicer, and so ready to go. Does that have a lot of sugar? And why did I fast? So why did I fast? I mentioned, well, there's a lot of different reasons. You can look at it both physically and mentally. My priority was from a mental standpoint. My concern was not losing weight. I did not need to lose weight, and the weight that is lost, which by the way I lost 14 pounds, and the lowest weight I've been since high school. I'm 33 years old, so that's quite a bit. Maybe what is that, 15, 18 years, something like that. The reason why I did it mentally was that I needed to, not that I needed, but I thought this was a great way to test myself and, really push my limits, see what I'm made of, really. I knew that there would be a lot of benefits that I had never really experienced before, like extreme discipline. I don't know, to be under extreme discipline, really what was going to come of it. And what came of it was a lot of good things that I can also talk about. But that was the main reason, was a discipline. And then just as important, really, from a physical standpoint, is that cellular detox, that regeneration that occurs when the body is able to which digestive system takes up so much energy, being diverted to other aspects of the body. I wanted to experience that. So, does it have a lot of sugar? No, this is fresh. I mean, fruit naturally has sugar, right? But it's natural, so it's not added sugar or anything. And this is fresh oranges, and exactly 14 pounds. I know. So I'm about to taste flavor for the first time in 7 days, and a little over 7 days, 7 days and 9 minutes, and I know the main thing to do is that and one of the things I'm going to be doing going forward is every sip, every bite, you really enjoy it. It's important for a lot of different reasons, just for that appreciation, but even just for your own body, to make sure that it's digested, at least for food, before it enters into your system. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's very good. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know how the audio is, but there was a little growl. It might have been like, "Oh, what's up?" But there was something there that just happened, but it was good, not bad. My tongue is going crazy. That's good. Like, obviously it's tasty enough where I'm gonna have some more, but I'm just enjoying what I just had. Then it's very good. So, I guess that's what they call the little things, right? So this is lovely. I almost got carried away there. Calm myself. Yeah, it's good stuff. Very good. This is amazing. What was the hardest part of not eating for 7 days? Honestly, look, I was committed to doing it, so failure was not an option. And I think because I went into it with that level of commitment, the concept of temptation, right, which is something I also thought about, it did not bother me. It can enter your mind, you understand what it is, I can fantasize about food, but even the general concept of that didn't really affect me. And sometimes temptation can be stressful, right? The temptation can be like, you're not supposed to do it, but you do it, or you can't resist, or it takes so much energy to resist. Or even when you do, the guilt associated, all that sort of stuff that, when you're committed, it doesn't affect you. And so from that standpoint, even though many might think that it's food and kind of like, you smell the food, and it really, that wasn't really it. I would say probably the toughest at various moments throughout the day, but probably from and what I mean is the first couple of days, I had spurts of energy, then that felt tired, then spurts of energy, not great sleep. But there was one day, 5th day in particular, it was the 6th day, 5th going into 6th, where it was particularly tough. Not much sleep, probably because the cortisol levels are like shooting through the roof. And that's expected, that's something I did sort of anticipate, but not the sleep combined with that, I was irritable, and I felt like, and then my tongue got white. So I think I was going through a detox. I feel like during that 5 to 6 day period, my body was like, and getting it all out. So I probably was bearing the brunt of that. a little bit, because today, the 7th day, I mean, it was the best day. I sort of feared this. I mean, not feared it. The word is that like I thought even ahead of this that once I got the 7th day, I might just want to keep going, and I do. Not only because of it, just like, you know, hey, I want to just see what I can do. Also based on what I've read and what I've seen, and or at least online, and through various different sources and whatnot, is I mean, the benefits, the true benefits, are just starting now. Like on the 7th day is when you really hit some really healing, like some benefits are really come to fruition as far as like the insides and the healing and all that. And it's not just your organs, it's your tissues too, right? So recently, I actually was diagnosed with a torn labrum. I think I had been playing, I say playing because I got the labrum, I got this from playing basketball, and I probably know the moment that it sort of happened initially. But you know, I just kept playing, made it worse, and at some point it got excruciatingly painful that, you know, it bothered me in my sleep. It actually disturbed me from my sleep, and it still is something that I'm mindful of. But so once I was diagnosed with that, and it was at that level where I just couldn't go anymore, and I had to take care of it, you know, I stopped. But so it's timely in the sense that it also helps with tissue repair. So I'm looking at it that way. So I'm looking at it very multi-beneficial. Tea or coffee? No, water only. So water only, and that's it. Nothing in the water, no electrolytes like salt, you know, sea salt, nothing like that. It's just water. I had done a fast previously, right? So just a little context here. I had started intermittent fasting, 2019, right? And August of 2019, never looked back since. And really, it was like the 16-8, you know, thing. So that was, you know, stopping at 8 p.m., eating at 12, and then about a few months ago, then I just did the 3.5 days. So I've sort of gone up to this gradually. Never thought didn't really think about 7 days and things like that, but that's how I sort of arrived here. But this time, just water only. Last time I did have coffee, I did have tea, and that was it. This time, nada. So that was also a caffeine detox, which also contributed to a bit of the challenge. What's up, man? No food, no. So this is just orange juice. Actually, thank you for reminding me. I was enjoying this. Wow. This is very good. First glass, I'll probably have another, so I'm gonna keep drinking this here. But no, Mr. Perez, you know, I was explaining that it's very key, you know, how you break your fast, especially after an extended one. So once you get to like 7 days, that's sort of, once you get past 4, that's sort of considered extended. No energy's been given to the digestive system for the last several days, so you don't want to shock the system. It's not ready to digest the way it needs to be. So the best bet, based on everything I've read, is orange juice. I mean, traditionally, we know we start OJ with, you know, in the morning, and that's because it's great for your digestive system. Very densely, very nutrient dense. So it's the best option to start for the first couple days, and then thereafter some soup, and then the day after that veggies, and then we'll get into all the other good stuff. What benefits did you experience? Cheers, excuse me. Tons. I mean, the experience in itself is a benefit. I mean, even just that experience, any sort of experience is a benefit, right? But without getting too like philosophical about that, the benefits of this particular experience were, no doubt about it, being, you know, like more productive, less thinking, a lot more action, no time to think. Probably because, especially in the beginning, I want to keep myself busy. You don't want to, you know, because especially in the beginning, you're trying to build up the energy to fight off those sort of temptations with food and just like thinking about things like just food, really. So you kind of build that stamina, and you do it so by just doing stuff. So a lot of action, a lot of stuff done. You can run pretty good without sleep. I mean, without much sleep or as good as sleep, just because of the cortisol and all that stuff that's going off at various times. But benefits also, I mean, look, I didn't do this for the weight loss, But what I'll say, one of the results of the experience was, like I mentioned, losing those 14 pounds. And so, I mean, this is my lowest weight. I know that, excuse me, one thing that I've noticed in my adult age, when I'll say that adult age, I'll consider that 25 plus. Let's consider that adult age. It's like there's been a lingering thing around my body that seems like fat, but doesn't seem like fat, but it's like there's a water weight, but that seems to have sort of dissipated or gone away. So it really does seem like I'm younger in a sense, at least for me. That's what I'm looking at. Like, it seems like it's just like a youthful sort of thing. Like, I don't see stuff that's been like there. It's probably just been evacuated or whatever. And so I think from a physical standpoint, certainly, I think that's part of it. I will gain some of the weight back, but the key is, going forward, how do you manage that? So I now have an opportunity to kind of reset, think about how I want to approach looking at food. And that's the other benefit, by the way, is how you look at food. Food, largely, when we consume food, oftentimes it's a feeling thing, or it's a timing thing. We have time, we made time for food, so we're gonna eat at this time, versus what your body's really asking for. Would you do it again? No. If I do it again, it would be 14 days. So yes, I will do an extended fast. No, I mean, the next time I do this, it won't be 7 days. I mean, at this point, 14 days, even considering 30 days, but we'll do the 14 days. What's my diet before? I didn't have a diet, like, in particular. Like, I didn't have any name diet, no brand diet. I tried all sorts of things in the past, keto style and high protein, or things like that in general, but just more out of curiosity and experimentation and things like that. Most of the part I've always mixed in pretty things. I mean, my consumption of beverage has always been pretty simple, just water, really, or like almond milk, or like any of the alternative dairy type of milks. But going forward, I don't know. I've been reading so many different things. There's so much pieces of information, so many different perspectives, and that's why you gotta make a gut call. I mean, pun was intended there, if it was too easy. But yeah, it is a gut call, because you gotta make a decision. You gotta know what's best for you. Best not only on what you're experiencing, what your body needs, based on your condition, based on your background, as we all know. I mean, different parts of the world, genetic profile. Different genetic profiles are conducive to different foods. You have to know yourself. For now, it's gonna be starting the fruit. I thought I was gonna start with bone broth, but the reason why I backed off on that is because of what I'm reading about meat in general. And by the way, I'm not getting into any anti-meat, nothing like that. That's what I would fantasize most about, like a burger. I would just think about a juicy burger, man. That was the one that came across in mind. So I love like beef and lamb and all sorts of things. So good chicken, and but maybe it's meant to be more like a once in a while thing, more like a treat, right? So it's certainly keeping meat, and then the question becomes what type of meat, and that's when I started looking up what meats are the most nutrient dense, right? And here they are. So it's lamb, it's bison, it's venison, and there was another one that I considered that I was gonna maybe start pivoting to if and when I do have meat. There's so much chicken out there, and at some point, and I don't know about you, but when things I've noticed now going through adult age, when things are massively consumed, you sort of want to question, okay, what's going on here, right? So I've sort of thought about that with chickens, and you always hear about protein, but we get protein in a lot of different ways. We're not really protein. It's not easy to be protein deficient, and so so I started taking a hard look at chicken, and in particular, what's interesting is not necessarily the nutrients. It's nutritious, sure, but there's an imbalance of omegas, and I believe it's having a higher balance of omega-6 versus omega-3. That's not good. We understand omegas are good, but when you have a higher balance of 6 versus 3, and significantly so, it's not good for us. And apparently, that's the case in a lot of different types of foods, but in particular chicken. And so those meats that I described are not only nutrient dense, but they also have a very even ratio, or close to even ratio, of omega-6 and omega-3s. So that's what I'm thinking about with the meats, and maybe those will be like once a week or something. And really pivot to fruits, berries, avocados. I mean, you could do so much with these things. I mean, you can get really creative. So this is where, yeah, so. Were there any issues you experienced or wanted to fix? Well, I mean, we all have issues, right? So I had plenty, but as it relates to the fast, I mean, I guess what I have eczema on my hand. You can probably see some here, on this hand too, a little bit on my lower back as well. And, to me, that's been something for a while now, and I've tried to combat it in so many different ways, changing up the foods that I eat and things like that, and I've had varying levels of success. It seems like I had gotten over it, and something comes back and something triggers it. And you know what? And the reality is, it's not like there are moments of weakness, and perhaps that's where I suffer from, like the discipline. Even though overall I could be eating healthy in terms of, I guess healthy to me is like almost as easy as like not eating processed foods. I mean, you give yourself a chance if you're not eating processed foods. So that's how I would describe like healthy. Really, so eczema, and I'm trying to figure maybe to help a little bit with that. And I did see some positive results throughout with that, much less. My gut health in general, I think I've suffered from some sort of imbalance in the gut ever since, especially a few years ago. I had H. pylori, which is like a very common bacteria to get, especially through the water and whatever it was. And so it actually, interestingly, it probably wasn't even the H. pylori that did it for me. It was probably the antibiotics I took after it to treat that probably destroyed my whole biome or whatnot. There's no destroyed that bacteria, but also destroyed the other bacteria. And I've been probably paying for it ever since, because, the gut, as we begin to, as we know, or as I've begun to learn in recent years, is, I mean, that's where your intelligence, that's where your energy really starts. Everything starts in your gut. And so I haven't been running on all cylinders at all. Like half the cylinders, I feel like, the last several years. So I wanted to also fix that in terms of like make sure I'm running at my fullest potential, because if you're really suffering inside, in terms of like your body spending a lot of energy and doing a lot of stuff that it doesn't need to be doing, you're just not going to be running like full steam ahead. Your sharpness level, your energy. Is there ice in that, OJ? No, there isn't. Yeah, I actually did, right? I mean, you would think like, oh my God, like ice, of course, right? Like a cold glass of orange juice. But, there's something I've learned throughout. You want sort of a warm liquid to ease in your digestive system as well. So that helps. The warm liquids helps. That's why you have soup when you're kind of sick or whatnot. You want warm liquids inside. So this is not warm, but it's room temperature, right? So definitely I didn't want to make it iced. I thought about it. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Oh, there we go. Let's go. I'm looking forward to the 14-day. I think there's a lot more based on what I see and then what I read. The benefits are extraordinary. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for joining, and I'll talk to you later.